Hi everyone, welcome to my at-home studio. My name is Miss Selena Tabor and I am an art teacher at Huron High School. I teach 9th through 12th grade, lots of different art classes, some advanced, some beginner. And today I want to teach you about art and mindfulness and how those two mix together. The reason I really love teaching this is because mindfulness and meditation are something that I practice daily at my house. And I think that they've become an important part of my life to help me stay calm. And now more than ever is a great time to learn different strategies on how to stay calm. So the goal of this video and the next videos that you'll be watching, it's going to be a series of 4 lessons that will hopefully help you get a better understanding of how to use mindfulness in art. It's okay if you don't know what mindfulness is because we're going to go over that today in this first lesson. So this first lesson will be just a basic introduction to mindfulness. So you won't actually be making any physical art in this lesson, but you'll still be creating art with your mind. All right, so I gave you a little bit of time to read this quote at the beginning of the video. I really wanted you to get an idea of what we'll be looking at during these lessons. So this quote is taken out of a book that I simply love called Art as Therapy. And in this book, it talks a lot about using art to help us understand the world around us, the needs of others, but most importantly, ourselves. And that's something that I also use in my personal art practice too. And that's really the goal of this. So this isn't to make you a better artist, although it might. The goal is for you to understand yourself and learn what it's like to do things without being attached to the product. So that is ultimately the goal of this. So let's go into more detail about what we'll be learning. So during these lessons, we're going to be talking about what mindfulness is, how we can practice it, why we might use it, what it can be used for in art, and what it might teach us about ourselves. So for those of you who are wondering, what is mindfulness? I looked up a lot of definitions online, and I tried to give you some of my favorite ones or parts of my favorite ones. So moment by moment awareness, being fully present, so we're not thinking in our heads about what we're going to eat for a snack after school later. We're focusing on what's going on in front of us, however dull or exciting it may seem. And it says here, not overly reactive or overwhelmed. So wouldn't that be great to learn how to not get so overwhelmed? I know lots of students who struggle to try to balance projects, and some of you might even have been struggling with online learning. So this is a great way to help yourself step back from a situation so that you don't get so overwhelmed. And guess what? Mindfulness is something that we all have access to. We just have to actually learn how to do it. So what you can possibly gain from these this series of videos is a sense of calm, maybe some added concentration and focus. Certainly since I've started my mindfulness and meditation practices, I've been able to become more aware of the mind-body connection and concentrating. And I think most of all, appreciating and letting go and using positive ways to cope with stress or other negative situations. So these are the tips that I'll be reminding you of before we start every video. So this is just, don't feel bad if you don't know all this right away. I will remind you of this as we go through these activities. So the first thing about mindfulness and art is that we have to let go of this attachment to the end product, which I know many of you probably struggle with that. I see it often with the students that I've taught, and I've taught 6th through 12th graders, And I've seen you all way too attached to the final product looking just perfect. So this is a great activity where you can throw the final product out the window if you want to and don't even worry about it. Having a childlike curiosity or sense of play, all that means is trying to remember what it was like when you were 5 years old in art class or on the playground with your friends, and thinking about your mind and how creative you were, and how you were able to just, yell out gibberish and think it was silly, or make games out of nothing and just make things up. Try to remember that and connect to that in your mind. Follow your inner voice. This will help you to trust yourself. I have certainly learned to trust myself more since I've started doing some of these mindfulness art exercises. Not overthinking. Again, I know a lot of 6th through 12th graders who overthink an awful lot. And no judgment. So that means you're not allowed to label your stuff good or bad. What do you think about that? And pay attention to how you feel and what goes on in and around you. Okay, so remember how I told you that we were going to make art with our minds? That's because you are going to create by using mindfulness and practicing a really important skill that you probably need to know if you're going to make art, and that is washing your hands. So this simple activity is just to show those of you who have never used mindfulness before, and even a reminder to those of you that have, an easy way to use mindfulness. And this will help you to start to get an understanding of what we're going to do with these. So I'm going to put up the rules on the screen for this, or not the rules, but the guide for this on the screen, and I'll walk you through that. I'll talk you through it. So you will need a sink. So you'll have to go to a bathroom sink or a kitchen sink. And I would like for you to take your device if you can. Don't get it wet. But if you can't, then just listen and watch the rules here next. And then you can go and do it and then come back to the video. So we are going to wash our hands mindfully. So we're going to start. I'd like you to take a deep breath as you step in front of the faucet and try to clear your head of any thoughts. So just notice your intention that your hand is going to go toward the faucet to turn it on. And next, turn the water on. Feel your hand moving toward the soap. Whether you have a dispenser or a bar, just be aware of the soap as you're putting it on your skin. Notice the look and the color of your soap or your soap dispenser. What does it smell like? What does it look like? Start to slowly rub your hands together as you lather up and gather some bubbles. What does it feel like as you run each fingertip across each other, over and in between, on the tops of your hands, on the bottoms, on your wrists? Keep lathering. Just pay attention to how it feels to have the soap on your hands. Spend another moment lathering. And then once you get enough bubble, you can start to rinse your hands with the running water. What does that feel like? Let the water cascade down your palms into the drain and turn the faucet off. Find a towel or maybe a paper towel. Hopefully you have one by you. If not, be mindful as you walk to somewhere to grab a towel. What's the texture and the feel of the towel on your hands? So that was it. And now I want you to reflect. How did this make you feel, and what did you notice? So that's it for our first tutorial. And I know that wasn't as much art making, but I really want you to get a good understanding, especially if you've never heard much about mindfulness before, of how it can be used. So thinking about those first inquiry questions, what is mindfulness and how can we use it, not just with art. So I want you to think about mindfulness in your own life. Could you use mindfulness when you are taking a shower, brushing your teeth, planting in your garden? Maybe you're helping with some gardening. I've been hearing a lot of students doing that. Maybe you're washing dishes. Maybe you're making your bed. Maybe you're folding your clothes. So think about all the little moments in your day and try to pick at least one or two between now and the next lesson, which hopefully you take a day until you do the next lesson. And really just try to get some moments where you're being mindful like you did when you washed your hands. So thinking about the things around you, try to be curious and playful with the world around you. Pretend you're a little kid. If you're into acting, this might be really fun for you. You could pretend that you're a little kid. So let's shoot for at least one or two mindful moments between now and the next lesson. And in the next lesson, we are going to have some fun with our breath and watercolor.